I invite you to pause with me for a moment and meet a small creature that touches people more deeply than they expect. Because the mini donkey is not just an animal, but a gentle companion whose calm eyes and quiet nature awaken something warm inside us. And that is why I want to take you into a small world today, where this peaceful being shows how much kindness can live inside such a tiny body. When you meet a mini donkey for the first time, you immediately notice the special calmness it carries, a calmness rarely found in animals of its size, because it moves slowly, carefully, and with serenity that feels almost like a soft reminder that life does not always need to be loud. And this gentle way of being makes people trust it instantly, as if its presence alone encourages us to slow down and breathe. The mini donkey comes from regions where donkeys have lived beside humans for centuries, but these smaller versions were bred to be closer to people, easier to keep and more affectionate. And you can feel this closeness when you watch them, because they seek eye contact, they pause, they observe, and they show a kind of attention that surprises many, especially from an animal traditionally known for hard work and endurance. Its movements are soft and almost look like small decisions made with every step, because the mini donkey places its hooves so gently on the ground that it seems as if it does not want to disturb the world. And this gentle rhythm makes it so lovable, showing that it is not just small, but a creature with personality, one that experiences life at its own pace and reminds us how soothing it can be to slow down ourselves. Many people fall in love with mini donkeys because they carry a rare blend of strength and softness, as they possess the same inner peace as large donkeys and the same curiosity as young animals. And this combination makes them perfect companions for anyone seeking an animal that is not demanding, not loud, and not restless, but simply present, offering a quiet gaze that seems to say, "I am here and I will stay with you." When you watch a mini donkey for a while, you realize that it is not just a small animal, but a being that perceives the world with remarkable gentleness, because it does not react with nervousness or haste, but with a quiet awareness that shows it senses everything around it. And this calm nature often soothes people instantly, making them move more slowly and speak more softly in its presence. The mini donkey has a special relationship with humans that cannot be forced, because it chooses on its own whom it trusts. And when it gives that trust, it does so in a way that deeply touches people, approaching gently, lowering its head slightly, and showing with its large eyes that it feels safe. And this moment of trust is something many never forget, because it feels so honest and pure. Its ears play an important role, constantly moving, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly, revealing how attentive it is, because the mini donkey hears every sound, every step, and every voice, yet remains calm as if it wants to understand the world before reacting. And this way of being makes it an animal you do not only see but also feel, because its calmness transfers to you and creates a moment that feels almost meditative. Many people think a mini donkey is simply cute, but anyone who observes it longer realizes that it carries a surprising emotional depth, showing curiosity, caution, joy, and sometimes even a quiet melancholy. And this mixture makes it a being that people do not see merely as a pet, but as a small friend who understands the world in its own gentle way. Why? When you spend time with mini donkey, you notice that it is not just an animal you look at, but one you feel, because its presence has something warm, soothing, and human. And this is why mini donkeys become more than animals for many people, becoming small companions who show through their gentleness that strength does not need to be loud, and that sometimes the smallest beings carry the biggest hearts. When you observe a mini donkey in its daily life, you quickly notice that it has a unique way of looking at the world, because it often pauses, lifts its head slightly, and gazes around with calmness that feels almost as if it is consciously experiencing every moment. And this gentle awareness makes an animal that touches people deeply, because you sense that it does not simply react, but truly feels what is happening. And this quiet attention reveals how sensitive and refined this small creature is, radiating a kind of serenity with every breath that many people miss in their own lives. The mini donkey has a special relationship with sounds, hearing every rustle, every step, and every voice, yet remaining calm as if it wants to decide whether what it hears truly matters. And this way of filtering the world shows how thoughtful and intelligent it is, because it does not respond impulsively, but with an inner order that helps it feel safe. And this calmness transfers to people around it, who automatically speak more softly and move more gently, because its serenity acts like a small mirror that reminds us how much peace can exist in a single moment when we allow it. When the mini donkey approaches a person, it does so not with haste, but with a careful, almost tender manner, placing its steps slowly, lowering its head slightly and showing with its large eyes that it wants to offer trust. And this moment is special for many people because it feels so honest and pure, as a mini donkey does not pretend, does not hide, and shows exactly what it feels. And this authenticity is something rare in a world that has become loud, fast, and often impersonal, which is why its gentle presence touches people so deeply. Why? Its movements sometimes feel like small stories told with every step, because it does not simply walk from one place to another, but experiences the world in small portions, as if it examines every scent, every color, and every sound before moving on. And this way of living shows how consciously it moves through life, not being pushed forward, but choosing when to pause and when to continue. And this self-determination makes an animal that people do not only observe but admire, because it shows how valuable it is to experience the world rather than rush through it. Many people feel something around a mini donkey that they cannot easily describe, because it carries a quiet warmth that is not loud and not demanding, but simply present, like a small, gentle friend who shows that closeness does not always need words. And this warmth is what makes it an animal that people often cannot forget, because they realize it is not just a creature, but a being that perceives the world with a depth one would not expect at first glance. And this depth makes it a companion that touches the heart without overwhelming it. When you see the mini donkey in moments where it feels safe, you witness a side of it that surprises many people, because it shows a quiet kind of joy that is not loud or wild, but expressed through small movements, like a gentle nodding of the head or a soft snort. And these subtle signs reveal that it is an animal that does not hide its emotions, but shows in a way that feels incredibly sincere. And this sincerity often touches people more deeply than they expect, because they sense that this small creature perceives the world with a purity rarely found in everyday life. The mini donkey has a unique way of showing affection, because it does not push itself forward or demand anything, but simply stays close to the person as if to say that it feels comfortable. And this quiet form of closeness is something many people value deeply, because it is not loud and not exaggerated, but simply present, like a small moment of connection that shows that trust does not always require grand gestures, but sometimes only the presence of a being that feels safe enough to remain. When you watch how the mini donkey interacts with other animals, you quickly notice that it has remarkable social intuition, because it approaches slowly, observes carefully, and only then decides whether to move closer or stay still. And this cautious way of engaging shows how respectful it is, because it does not invade spaces but waits to be welcomed. And this attitude makes an animal that often brings calmness to groups, as its serenity acts like a small anchor that shows others there is no reason for haste. Its relationship with nature is also special, because the mini donkey perceives its surroundings with an attention that feels almost poetic, pausing when the wind shifts, lifting its head when a bird calls, and continuing its steps only when it senses a moment has passed. And this way of feeling the world reveals how deeply connected it is to its environment. And this connection often reminds people how important it is to notice the small things that are so easily overlooked in daily life. Many people sense a quiet wisdom in the mini donkey, a wisdom not expressed through words, but through its way of experiencing the world, because it shows that strength does not need to be loud, and that calmness is not weakness, but a form of clarity that comes from truly perceiving life. And this wisdom makes an animal that teaches people more than they expect, showing that one does not need to be large to have meaning, and that sometimes the smallest beings carry the greatest messages. When you see the mini donkey in moments of rest, you witness a side of it that is deeply touching, because it does not simply lie down, but does so with a careful gentleness that shows how consciously it moves its small body. And once it finally settles, it seems almost as if it lets go of the world for a moment, with its eyes softening, its breathing slowing, and its entire body expressing a kind of peace rarely seen so clearly. And this moment of surrender touches many people, because it shows how much trust this little creature has in its surroundings. When the mini donkey sleeps, you see how vulnerable and yet how strong it is, because although it is small, it sleeps with a calmness that feels almost majestic, and this calmness reveals that it feels safe, unafraid, and fully at ease, knowing the world will not harm it in this moment. And this sense of security is something people value deeply because they understand that an animal can only sleep this peacefully when it truly feels a home. And this sight helps many realize how profound the bond between humans and animals can be when it is built on trust. When the mini donkey rises again, it does so slowly and thoughtfully, as if checking whether the world is ready to receive it once more. And this way of moving shows how deliberate each step is, because it does not simply stand up, but lifts itself with a calmness that feels almost ceremonial. And this mindful way of moving makes people see it as wise, because it demonstrates that strength does not require haste, and that one can move through life with quiet, steady intention. When you watch how the mini donkey interacts with people it trusts, you see a form of affection that is not loud or exaggerated, but expressed through small gestures, like a gentle lean, a soft snort, or a quiet gaze. And these subtle signs reveal how deep its bond can be, because it shows its feelings not through big movements, but through a warm stillness that touches people more deeply than any dramatic gesture, as they sense that this closeness is genuine and unforced. Many people feel that the mini donkey awakens something inside them that is difficult to describe, because it carries a quiet strength that does not come from noise, but from an ability to calm, ground, and slow the world around it. And this strength makes an animal that people do not easily forget, because they sense that it is not just a small creature, but a companion who shows through its serenity how precious it is to find moments in life where one can simply exist without pressure. When you see the mini donkey in moments of curiosity, you witness a side of it that feels almost childlike, because it lifts its head, raises its ears, and takes a small step forward as if discovering the world anew. And this blend of caution and curiosity reveals how alive it is, wanting to understand what happens around it without rushing or overwhelming itself. And this gentle exploration touches many people, because it shows how much joy lies in the small things we often overlook. When the mini donkey encounters something new, it does not react with fear, but with a quiet evaluation, pausing, observing carefully, and deciding only then whether to approach. And this thoughtful way of responding shows how intelligent it is, guided not by haste, but by an inner compass that tells it when a moment is safe. And this calmness makes people see it as wise, because it demonstrates that one does not need to rush through the world to understand it. When you watch how the mini donkey reacts to familiar voices, you see a deep form of connection, because it lifts its head, moves its ears, and shows with its gaze that it recognizes a sound. And this reaction is special for many people, because they sense that this small creature does not just hear, but feels. And this ability to recognize closeness through sound reveals how sensitive it is, and how strong its bond can be with those who give it security. When the mini donkey feels joy, it does not express it through loud noises or wild movements, but through small signs that only become visible when you truly pay attention, like a gentle nodding of the head, a soft snort, or a quiet step that becomes slightly quicker. And these subtle gestures make it so lovable, because they show that its happiness does not need to be loud to be real, reminding us that joy often lives in small moments we only notice when we slow down. And many people feel that the mini donkey gives them something they often lose in everyday life, a moment of calm, closeness, and clarity, because its way of experiencing the world shows that one does not need to be large to have meaning, and that strength comes not from noise, but from serenity. And this is why the mini donkey stays in the hearts of many, showing them that the world is often most beautiful when experienced slowly, consciously, and with an open gaze. As we come to the end of this film, I want to give you a moment to reflect on what this little mini donkey has shown us, because its calmness, its gentleness, and its quiet way of experiencing the world remind us how valuable it is not only to look, but to truly perceive. And I hope this film offered you a moment of serenity, a moment in which you could feel how much peace can live inside a small creature that moves through life with an open gaze. I know each of us carries our own thoughts, worries, and daily routines. Yet sometimes a single animal, a single look, or a single moment is enough to remind us that the world can also be quiet. And this quiet beauty is what I wanted to share with you today, because the mini donkey carries it within itself without ever needing to express it loudly. And perhaps this film reminded you how important it is not to overlook such gentle moments. Many people search for calmness, clarity, and a sense of closeness that is not overwhelming. And if this film gave you exactly that, then it means a great deal to me. Because the mini donkey shows us that strength does not need to be loud, and that connection does not come from grand gestures, but from small, honest moments. And this honesty is what I want to share with you, because it's often lost in our fast world. I hope this film offered you a bit of warmth, perhaps a thought to carry with you, or simply a moment that felt good. Because animals like the mini donkey remind us that life does not always need to be complicated, but can sometimes be simple, quiet, and clear. And I wish you exactly this clarity for the days ahead. So you remember how precious it is to experience the world consciously. Why? To finish, I want to thank you for your time, your attention, and for joining me on this journey. Because every viewer makes it possible to continue creating films and telling new stories. And if you subscribe to the channel, leave a like, or activate the bell, you support this work and help ensure that gentle, warm moments like these continue to have a place. And for that, I thank you sincerely.